Okay, in this video, we're going to look at initializing the season and setting the season schedule. So let's create our tour. Let's call it My Tour. Put in a name. And let's say we're going to use the Legends and we're going to use the FedEx Points competition for this tour. And let it create the tour. And then we'll set our roster. Give it a moment here to create it. And we're ready to go. So let's play the tour. Now, before we can do the season, we have to set the schedule. And once you set the schedule, it's set for the entire season. You can't change it. So any course changes or tournament changes or FedEx Cup information you want to change, do it now before you set your schedule. And if you change it right here, it's only going to change it for this tour. It won't change it for any other tours that you might create. As opposed to if you had changed it on the master database, then that's going to apply to any tour you create. So once again, you can change tournament information and it'll only affect this tour. It won't affect any other tours. If you change the master database, then it's going to affect any tour that you create from that point on. So let's go ahead and initialize the season. And you can see here that you can have 0 to 9 sponsors exemptions. It starts off with 3, and you have a variety of tour schedules to pick from: the PGA Tour, Champions Tour, European Tour, and the Links Virtual. The Links Virtual is any tournaments that you created off the master database that can get included here. Now, the PGA Tour has the FedEx Cup points competition. The Champions Tour doesn't, and the European Tour doesn't. So if I try, and we pick FedEx Cup points competition. So if I pick European Tour, I'm not going to get anything because none of those tournaments have FedEx Cup points tournaments. So you have to come in, like I said, before you set the schedule and change those tournaments to be FedEx Cup points. Same thing for Champions Tour. Their weekly tournaments are not FedEx Cup points. Now there are playoffs here in the Champions Tour, which can be used in any of the tours that you might set up. But you can't have the weekly tournaments because they're not FedEx Cup points. So if we come back and if I use PGA Tour, and let's say I'll include the Champions Tour tournaments also, I should only see just the 3 playoff tours, but all the tournaments in PGA Tour will be there because they are FedEx Cup points, which you see here. And then here's the Champions Tour playoffs. So let's set up the schedule. And this has a lot of edits and checks and balances into it and limitations on setting up the schedule. So let's say I want to set up that first, and then we have our alternate here. Let's say, because remember, alternate tournaments are opposite of regular tournament where a set of players play here and whoever didn't qualify will get to play in that alternate tournament. Let's say then we have a major right behind that, the PGA. And then we'll just make it real short here for demonstration purposes. We'll say the ATT Pebble Beach Pro-Am. And then you can set up your playoffs. Now you can set up your series of playoffs however you want, but they have to go in a specific order by the field size going down. But the Tour Championship must be the last playoff tournament. You can use just one or you can use them all. And over here, you can move things around also. Let's say I wanted Barbasol to be opposite of the PGA Championship. I can move that down. Maybe I wanted ATT Pebble Beach Pro-Am to be the first tournament of the season. Now, the Barbasol cannot be the first tournament of the season because it has to be opposite a regular tournament. Now, it looked like it'll let you do that, but if I try to save it, see, alternate tournaments can't be the first tournament of the season, so I have to move them down. So let's say it's going to be opposite the PGA. Now, another unique situation we'll have here is because I only have 93 players on the Legends roster, and the PGA Championship may have, say, qualify 144. So that's going to use every one of the Legends players and then some. So there'd be nobody left to play the Barbasol Championship. So what will happen if you use that? The Barbasol is not going to be scheduled here. So the only way you can really take advantage of the alternate tournaments is probably if you use the PGA Tour roster, which has over 200 players, because then most tournaments are 144, 156. You'll still have like 90 some odd players who still qualify for the alternate tournament. So if I save the schedule here, It's going to give me the message that the Barbasol cannot be played. See, because of lack of players. And it's going to go ahead and set the schedule without the Barbasol tournament. And now it's all set. You can't change anything. And we're ready to start. Now I'm going to pause the video here because after the initial season here and you're ready to start your second season, you have the opportunity to copy the previous season schedules and make some changes. And I want to go through that. But first, I have to complete the season. So I'm going to pause the video and we'll pick back up when we're ready to start season 2023. Okay, season 2022 is now completed and closed out, and we're ready to start season 2023. You get the same message that you got initialized, and you want to make any changes to your tournaments or your courses or FedEx Cup settings, do that before you set up your 2023 schedule. So let's say we're going to leave everything the same, and we're ready to initialize and set up our 2023 schedule. Now you come up with this right here. You can copy the previous season schedule, use that as a baseline for the next season, so you don't have to recreate it every season. You also can have the option to increase the tournament purses from the last season because, you know, the inflation and prices tend to go up and they tend to raise the tournament purses. It'll go up maybe, I think, no more than, say, 5% or something like that. Now, if you elect to use a season schedule here, copy from the previous season, it'll put that out there as the initial as your schedule, but then it's also going to bring in all of the other tournaments from all the schedules, so it allows you to make changes to it. It's just using that as a basis for update. If you want to just start all over or just make a whole drastically new schedule, you would not want to copy this, and you would just go ahead and then pick whatever schedule or whatever schedule sources you want to use. So, but we're going to just copy the previous season schedule. You see what it did. Remember, there's no Barbasol because there wasn't enough players. And then I can update it if I wanted to make any changes to it by adding tournaments, or I could remove tournaments. So say I want to remove the 3M from this turn from here, and I want to add in maybe the Byron Nelson this time. It'll put it at the end, but maybe I want to move it up then to the second week's tournament, like that. Now we're ready to go. So I moved the one out and I moved the other in for the 2023 season. And then you go ahead and save your schedule, and it'll tell you that you can't change it once you're set. And then we're ready to start our next season and play it on just like we did in 2022.